It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, October the 5th, a day that we will all remember as the day that we were getting ready for yet another playoff baseball series in the Twin Cities. Great Scott, we're through.
Oh, my God. How did that happen? Here it is.
Swing and a miss. Finally, 21 years in the making. And the Twins advance with a victory in 2 straight over Toronto. And they will meet the Houston Astros in the ALDS.
That was a monster moment. I was watching in front of a television, pumping my fist, pounding back a little glass of suds like you're supposed to do on a beautiful fall afternoon. I love me some playoff baseball. I know I enjoyed that result. Zep, I'm assuming you did. Candace, I know you did. But, Tony, you were there.
I was there.
Tony Lee was on hand.
I had suds as well.
Attaboy.
My God, that was exciting. I mean, the game was made by the crowd. I've never seen such an enthusiastic crowd, and so happy to be there.
Pretty
and so
exciting
empowering
stuff.
Yeah, and what a fantastic game. It was a beautiful night for it, too.
Yeah, I've said oftentimes I'm very Carlos Correa like we have a lot in common, at least where the plantar fasciitis goes. I too have had plantar fasciitis, so I know his pain. But literally, just the guy couldn't get around on a pitch all season long. But right now, who cares? Because good Lord, he's still got that glove in that arm. And man, the pickoff play, Sonny Gray. Throwing out the runner at second base to Correa. That moment is when, again, you're looking at momentum in postseason baseball. Yeah. A slim 2-0 lead, but I just went, that's ball game right there.
That's that was a big one. That
is ball game. Now, if I'd been at the stadium and said that, it would have jinxed it and they would have lost. But at home, I felt very confident just going, that is it. That moment was... I mean, that's it, as far as the Twins go in the playoffs, every highlight reel recapping, this run, that's going to be highlight number one, unless there's a game-winning walk-off home run. That's just one of those plays you don't see very often. You definitely don't see in that context with so much at stake. It was you can call it a base-running error, but it was just a perfect pickoff at second. Really
that's the
exciting.
Plays that teams need when they're going to move ahead. They have to have moments like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They do have to have, and they're going to need more moments like that. And you want to enjoy the victory here, but they do have the Houston Astros coming up next in the ALDS. And so I dug into the Houston Astros last night, not knowing much about their season. Obviously, I know about, they'd won the World Series, apparently without cheating. They got one. But with Correa, no doubt. But I looked into them and I thought, oh, boy, this isn't the Toronto Blue Jays coming up. This is a team that can pitch and hit the hell out of the baseball, so they're going to need moments like that, and a lot of them to get through this.
Yeah, they will. But you know what? The Astros have been sitting on their candy asses for a few days waiting.
Yeah, candy asses.
And the Twins just had two nail biter, close games, but confident games. Again, Uncle Mo is all about the playoffs are all about Uncle Mo. I don't know if I should really rip this can of worms open between me and Tony Lee here, but during the game there were 2 outs in the top of the 9th, and I sent Tony a text and he didn't get back to me. And I
feel bad about that.
I wrote Tony the what turned out to be the final batter of the game came up, and I sent Tony this text. I said, "Hey man, can you step away from the game for a minute? I just need to talk about the nature of love and the connective tissue that keeps all of us together here in the Twin Cities, please."
Oh, you were drinking a lot of suds, weren't you?
And he didn't get back. So
that's so. I think I know why. He was on the phone with me actually, and he told me that you were texting him, and I said, "What a loser," and then. Yeah.
Listen, when I have an existential crisis, I don't need 2 outs in the 9th blowback. Just call next time, man. I needed you.
You got me with a, hey, could you step away from the game right now and call? And I was like, really? Well, and then I read the rest and I'm like, Gorman. Back to the game.
You know what it was? I just wanted to be a part of it. I just wanted to be a part of your experience as you were watching the Twins punch through. What else we got? Let's have some audio. I'm having fun.
Well, here's just a few clips. I think we have Correa here. I know Farmer jumps in, and then Pagan wraps it up with a great quote.
Feels great. Feels fantastic, man. It's a special group that we have here. Everybody really wanted this. We talked about it before the postseason started, and, man, it showed. We played great baseball this this series.
You know what's up next. What do you think going to this next series?
Obviously, you got to play your best baseball when you face the Houston Astros, and that's what we plan to do. So we're going to go to Houston and go out there and try to take a game. Game 1.
How's your hand?
It's great.
You guys surprised they lifted Jose?
We kind of had an idea that they were going to bring him in, Kikuchi in. I mean, I would have left him in. I mean, he was throwing pretty well. His slider was looking good. His fastball was well. He was getting us out. And but you know, fortunate for us, we got the big knock when we needed it.
What got you guys here? Where earlier in the season could have gone either way.
We're just really good at baseball.
There it is.
Sometimes that's really all you need to be is really good at baseball.
Yep.
When I've had folks just since I got to town, they're like, "Hey, man, the show sounds great. What's going on with that?" And I always say, "We're just really good at radio." So that's how you do it. You just got to jump on that.
There was one more here I want to play for you. Just fun to hear from Caleb Thielbar. From Northfield, Minnesota, and came up with the Twins, a bit of a journeyman, played with the Saints as well. Came in, got an important double play last night. I like this piece of audio because he walks us through it. He didn't really want to pitch the pitch that led into the double play after he got himself into a little bit of a jam. Caleb Thielbar here.
All right, we're with Caleb Thielbar. You can enjoy your cigar. I mean, I don't want to keep you from celebrating here, but you're a Minnesotan. You know what this meant. How good does this feel for giving the fans something like this?
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, they showed out for us, and, you know, we showed out for them.
All right, talk about your inning. You came out there, you got into a jam, but you coaxed your first double play of the year.
Yep.
Could you have thought of a better time for a double play?
No, I wasn't sure. I thought it might have been the first one of the year, but I just wasn't sure, and I came in and asked those guys, and they confirmed that. So that was, great time for it. Made a good pitch. Really good call by RJ back behind the plate. I wasn't really on board with the pitch call, but I had to get on board real quick. Really focused up, made the pitch, and it ended up being the right one. So I was pretty happy that he made that call, and you know, sometimes you get lucky too.
Sonny Gray, pitching yesterday, said afterwards his 5-year-old son Declan told him as he was leaving for the game, "Dad, you better not lose." And by the way, Declan Gray, if that's not a name for an English singer-songwriter from Sheffield, I don't know what is. Have you heard the new one from Declan Gray? It's really good. He sings about the rain and stuff. It's sad. It's sad, but life affirming, you know. Man, what? But and that move. Also, I heard Ryan Jeffers, the catcher, yesterday for the Twins, after the game on the radio, and he said that pickoff play. By the way, when Gray spun around and threw the ball to Correa, who tagged out Vlad Guerrero Jr., they had been talking about it during the innings. They were like, they're taking big leads. I think we can get one. But it was so loud in the stadium, they weren't sure they could hear whatever the word Carlos would normally yell. So it was Jeffers that gave the signal from behind the home plate. Like they're both lined in, and he signaled to Correa, like, make your move, and Sonny Gray knows the signal too. So it was the three of those guys working in tandem. A little thing, it's not that big a deal. That's baseball. But again, the context for at the time of game, the fact that it's Vlad Guerrero Jr., the fact that they have a man on second and third, that's just one of those moments that, again, as far as the Twins go, that's what they're going to look back on and go, man, that sealed it for us. We just knew we were in.
Yeah, I mean, that's really being focused and in the game, and that's where that comes from, behind the plate, a lot of that. But, Vlad, man, that's Little League Baseball there, man. I don't know. That's just getting a little cocky or just wanting it a little too bad.
Hey, by the way, full props to Vlad Guerrero Jr. for just sitting in the dirt for a full minute going, no, I'm safe. No, you're going to pull that out on replay, dude. And he was like, he wasn't budging. I was like, man, if they uphold the call, that's going to be the longest walk back to the dugout in the playoffs.
He knew he was out before the ump even made the call. He looked up like, no, man, no, don't say it. Do not give it. God, son of a.
Yeah.
That worked in the favor. All right, we're talking Twins throughout the morning and some Vikings even. Sam Ekstrom's going to be checking in at 8:30. We got some tickets to give away. What are we giving away? Foo Fighters tickets again this morning?
Yes, sir.
God, we're so loaded.
We're so cool.
By the way, we're also speaking to Paul Rodgers today.
Oh, what Paul? Not Paul Rodgers from Bad Company.
Yeah.
Paul Rodgers from The Firm, and from Bad Company.
I forgot about The Firm.
spent a little time singing Queen songs, if memory serves. He's done a lot. He's going to be with us.
All right. Speaking of being with us here at 6:30, Mike Evans, Hollywood Report. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, October the 5th. The Twins have advanced. Oh, baby. They will be playing the Houston Astros Game 1 Saturday. I don't believe that time is set yet, but if they, by the way, games 2 and 4 played here in Minnesota next Tuesday and Wednesday. Tickets go on sale Friday. It's a very exciting time around here, but that doesn't mean we still don't want to look around the world and see what's happening elsewhere, like, I don't know, maybe Hollywood. The Mike Evans Hollywood Report. What's up, Mike?
Hey, good morning. This report brought to you, as always, by Marcus Theaters, and I'll have some movie reviews and talk to you about some movies tomorrow. Good weekend to go to the movies when the games aren't on. Yeah, I watched the Twinks last night. Was excited, thrilled. They won. Really happy and excited about them playing Houston. You know, having worked for the Dodgers, I hate the Houston Astros.
Well, having grown up anywhere but L.A., we all hate the Dodgers. See how that works?
Come on now.
I don't think anybody hates the Dodgers. Everybody hates the Yankees.
Yes.
And the Vikes going to be the focus of the NFL world with Kansas City coming. So Minnesota, Minneapolis, the Twin Cities is the focus.
Mike, I've called my shot. The Vikings are winning on Sunday, and I'm not kidding. I actually believe they're going to beat the Chiefs.
Wow. I haven't made my pick on my one and out, so I'm torn between the Chiefs, Detroit, and Miami. So maybe I'll forget about the Chiefs if you think that. Move on. Bizarre love nugget. This is so weird. So Hugh Jackman was married to Deborah Lee for 27 years, and then right out of the blue, she divorces him. And for weeks, Hugh Jackman was in seclusion. He was devastated. But apparently Hugh Jackman is in love with love, says that he would like to get married again, maybe within the year, and is asking some friends to introduce him to single women in hopes to remarry. He's asked Taylor Swift, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, Joe Jonas, Nicole Kidman.
He asked all those people to marry him? What a weirdo.
He wants them to turn on some of those single friends. Yeah.
By the way, if you are a man that's been married for 27 years and you are suggesting that you would like to be married again soon but don't have a person in your life, dude, what you need is a therapist.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it's on like Donkey Kong between Emma Corrin from The Crown and Rami Malek from The Pacific, Mr. Robot, the Oscar-winning performance, Freddie Mercury. So, you know, Steve, there's been rumored they were a couple for months, but now it is official. They say, yes, they definitely are.
This is the woman who plays Princess Di in the last... Yeah, she's like 6 feet tall.
I know she is, and he's short.
Ah, bless him.
They got some good movies that I want to tell you about tomorrow, but let's get the bad news out of the way. Exorcist Believer, huge disappointment. Look, it's the sixth of the franchise, and the problem is nothing ever will match the first Exorcist. I mean, it was so great. However, it'll still do big box office from the fans. But heads up, Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, the movie, opens up next Friday. And despite being almost 3 hours long, I think Taylor Swift's movie will exorcise The Exorcist.
Attaboy. I see what you did there. Did you say Eras? It's or Eras?
Eras.
Okay, I thought it was a Greek word or something all of a sudden.
And let's not forget Renaissance, a film by Beyonce. It's going to be released December 1st. Pre-ticket sales are already through the roof. Again,
go, girl. Yes, queen. I think that's what you're supposed to say, right?
Already tickets. I'm very excited about this one, Steve. Movie with an NFL connection, Triangle Park. It is a great documentary in limited release, opening November 14th, and then we'll quickly go to cable. This is the story of the very first NFL football game played at Triangle Park in Dayton, Ohio on October 3rd, 1920. How the rules were made, how the first plays were drawn up, a detailed look at the very first NFL players, Joe Buck, Joe Theismann, Chris Collinsworth, Troy Aikman, and others, tell the story and share the photos of of NFL history. It's called Triangle Park. I can't wait.
Mike, I can tell you the story right now. It was a bunch of guys in a circle going, give me another hit of that beer, and block that son of a bitch. He keeps tackling me. That's how they ran up plays back then. That was it. I need another beer and stop letting them hurt me. That was NFL in the 20s.
I'm excited. And in case you missed it, I mean, I'm just shocked by this. Over 100 retired and active military veterans who had reservations at 3 different Boston hotels to see the Army-Navy football game were notified this week that their hotel rooms have been canceled and instead are being given to illegal migrants instead. 100 retired and active military veterans told, "No, you can't stay here. We're migrants."
Okay, I gotta see some details on that one. Something's fishy with that.
It's a true story. It is bullshoy that it happened, and you can't make this sheep dip up, if you know what I mean. What's going on? I mean, the town's got to be just excited about baseball.
We're very excited about baseball, Mike, for sure. First time they've won a series in over 20 years.
21 years.
And God knows, I mean, if there's anything everybody hates, it's the Yankees, and behind them, it's the cheating Astros. So
that's what we hate. We lost the World Series to those sons of bitches.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow, Mikey.
Working the room blue.
Right. Telling it like it is. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya.
Right on. See ya. Mike Evans' Hollywood Report, a daily fixture where he says things like, we lost a World Series to those sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you just never know what's going to happen with Mike. Okay, and by the way, I'm not suggesting we should kick veterans out of rooms, but, that's one of those stories I'm kind of like, there's a story behind that story. That's all I'm saying. I'm not questioning Mike. I'm just questioning Mike.
Yeah, well, that's a fair question to ask.
It's like, what are you talking about? Give me the deets, man. And then otherwise, by the way, when I referenced the fact that Rami Malek is dating a 6-foot-tall woman, the part I didn't say is Rami Malek's like, what, 5'8", 5'7"?
Perfect.
And yeah, I mean, I have to remember, as a guy who's 6'3" myself, I've never dated a woman taller than me.
It's exciting.
I've only met a few girls taller than me in my life and known personally. There was one girl in college who was a full-on 6'5". She played basketball at Western that I considered asking out, and then I didn't because I saw her on campus get into a Corvette with an adult, and I was like, oh, okay. Because I was like 20, and this guy was like 24. And I was like, he's got a Corvette. I can't ask her out.
No.
That's all it took for me.
Could have been a cousin.
Could have been. Didn't look like it.
Probably.
I mean, I know that there's that whole Southern kissing cousins thing, but this seemed like a little something more.
All right.
All right, let's look back. How about a history lesson?
Sports go sports.
Yeah. Music history. Okay, Steve.
October the 5th, 1921, the World Series was broadcast on the radio for the first time. That's kind of interesting, but what's more interesting is the World Series was played between the New York Giants and the New York Yankees. All games played at the Polo Grounds because Yankee Stadium was not yet built. All 8 games of the 1921 World Series.
Wow.
Yeah, 8 because they used to go not 4 out of 7, but 5 out of 9.
Yeah, well,
how about
probably
that?
Had about 8 teams in the league.
Yeah, they that's exactly right. 8 games at the Polo Grounds. The Giants won 5 games to 3. Can you imagine if they still went 5 out of 9? That would just feel so. I don't know. There's something about a best of 7. It feels like that's a sacred. Let's say in the U.S. Constitution, we must have series that are 7 games. On this day in 2001, Barry Bonds, then with the Giants, hit his 71st and 72nd home runs in the same game, giving him the record for home runs in a single season. Now, after the game, the team officials shuttled him from the stadium to a lead-lined underground bunker as he was glowing as if full of gamma rays from the sheer volume of steroids coursing through his bloodstream.
That's safe for the public.
I made that last part up.
All right, we're digging on the Twins this morning, of course. We're all Twins fans suddenly. What are some of your best Twins memories? A lot of babies being born around Twins memories. Like Michelle here, my water broke at the 87 World Series Championship celebration at the Capitol. There's several of those up on the KQ Facebook page. You want to make a contribution? Better yet, we'd love to hear from you this morning. Hear the excitement, the glee in your voice. 651-989-ROCK, the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line. Hang tight.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. It is Thursday, October the 5th. Whew, baby. Van Halen getting after it. Van Halen, and before that, a little Led Zeppelin. Why not have a couple of bona fide guitar heroes going back to back? Why not? Thursday morning. Man, it's a rock show, man. They played Led Zeppelin and Van Halen. That's how rocking they were. The Twins are rocking right now, baby, by dispatching. I love when people use that term in sports. They dispatched the Blue Jays. No, they didn't. They kicked their ass.
Yeah.
Boy, did they really, though. If you think about it, I mean, it's only 2 games, but you give up 1 run in 2 games, you're going to win a lot of games, especially in the postseason. The Minnesota Twins now on their way to play the Houston Astros, the defending World Series champion Houston Astros, who are still and forever, in my mind, a bunch of cheaters who should be in the National League anyway. Saturday, Minnesota at Houston. Sunday, the same. Next Tuesday and Wednesday, those 2 teams will be here in Minnesota playing. Now, this is a best-of-5 series, of course. You don't get the best-of-7s till the ALCS and then the World Series. So, Twins can take care of business. Right now, one thing I really like about this is that Houston got a bye in the first round. They overtook the Texas Rangers on the final day of the season. After going 13-14 over their final 27 games, Houston is not on a tear by any stretch of the imagination. They're a rickety old train rolling down the track right now. Every member of that pitching staff has thrown up some awful games in the last month, and I mean, it's a good staff, but they're an older staff, an aging staff, and as I said, they played under 500 ball for the month of September. So again, it's all about momentum in the postseason.
It is. It's an aging staff that's getting some rest now, and they added Verlander.
Yeah.
Just for this run, and they've been at this for the last 6 years, whether they've been cheating or not. So they're built for the postseason. But I like, hot pitching, like you said, momentum. Batting and pitching, big hits, big pitching, and the Twins, the pitching has not been coming together for several seasons towards the end of the season. But, man, it's just kind of fallen into place, and I think we got as good a 1-2 as you can have in the postseason with Gray and Lopez. So, bring them on, and they're making the plays. So it's a you got the hungry young team here. Yeah. So with some veterans like Correa scattered in there.
Sneak a win in game 1 or 2 and then come home where Target Field is not a place anybody wants to play.
No, Rocco Baldelli called the last couple of games of the fans a weapon after the game last night. He said, these fans are a weapon. And Tony, you were there. The energy.
It erupts. Yeah, just erupts. I've never seen so many people high-fiving in my life. People are falling down from high-fiving. It's hilarious.
We've all been talking about that tag on Guerrero. You brought it up earlier. That was the turning point in the game that you basically could argue was the game. Well, they talked earlier in the game, and they said because the Twins fans were so loud, the Blue Jays base runners couldn't hear the third base coach.
Yep.
Guerrero inching down, trying to get a call. There was some confusion out there. That's how that works. So the Twins get a big attaboy, or the fans get a big attaboy, and had something to say about it after the game.
So I was 10 years old, and I'm 29 now. So it's crazy. It's crazy to be here in this experience.
I'm happy for them. I'm happy for us. It is so much fun to see us succeed. So much fun to see us go to the postseason. I love it.
It was great. It's just good to see the city alive. There's so much electricity in the stadium, and this is positive stuff for us, and we deserve it.
I'm feeling great. It's a great crowd. Everyone loves to be here. Let's go.
Pitching and big-time homers is what it comes down to in the postseason. The Twins have both of those things, so I think absolutely they can make it all the way.
Oh, I feel like this has been coming. I mean, it's just been a long time coming, and I'm sure we'll screw it up again soon.
There's the Minnesota.
I'll put money on the fact that the I feel great guy don't feel great right now.
That wasn't the end of the party. He didn't go home and go to bed.
No, what was cool, nobody would leave last night. The game was well over, and the players were just cheering and celebrating on the field. No one was leaving the stadium.
Yeah, I mean,
no one wanted to leave the park.
That's the Twins. I mean, that was the old Homer Dome, right? It would get so loud in there, and And it was a big, huge distraction for the teams coming in to be able to recreate that in an outdoor stadium. It wasn't about the Homer Dome. It's about the Minnesota fans.
On the Facebook page, Angela shared 87. I was 13. My dad piled us in the car. We went to the Metrodome to celebrate. My ears rang for a day or so. I remember seeing a guy in Channel 4. He said they had a decibel meter, and the noise was equivalent of being near a jet airplane taking off.
Yeah, I remember that, hearing that. It was
yeah, I went to one game at the Metrodome, and it was just a midsummer 1997 July midweek game. It was not loud like a jet engine. It was just one of those middle of the summer, like everyone there was just there to not. It was an afternoon game. No one wanted to be at work. Everybody was drinking beer. It was good. But that was my one experience there. But yeah, the noise in those domes like that, man. Whew. But it was really exciting last night, or I should say yesterday afternoon, because that's. Why? I mean, football is America's pastime. It has been for 50 years. It overtook baseball.
Yeah.
As far as obsession goes, well over 50 years ago, truly, if you just look at the numbers. And it's been on a growth. The NFL continues to grow against all reason and against all predictions. But yet, in the playoff baseball, when I was watching that yesterday, my wife and I were sitting there, and we were saying, what is it about postseason baseball? It brings out, I think because the season's so long.
Yeah.
And because it is... Culturally, the game is so woven in. It was always the pastime. It's the original sport that was ours long before football. I think that's just in the water and in the air of being an American. And when you watch a game in the postseason, the intensity, you notice after a season where every game, you can make you go to a game and you're like, well, this game doesn't even matter. In the postseason, every pitch matters. Every pitch, you're on edge. Every time you hear a ball hit a bat, it matters. Like every single moment. And there's nothing that compares. There's not a Super Bowl that you can watch that for an entire 4 quarters feels like an entire postseason baseball game. Because, you've got so much dead time. Baseball, especially now with the clocks, the sped up pace. It's intense, man.
I like that.
I love it.
I like that a lot, watching these last 2 playoff games, and I don't know what the run time came in at, but I like the quicker pace of the games. You still have plenty of time to pace around and go, oh, man, come on. But it's got a little bit more of a clip to it, and that helps.
Well, you've got such an intensity where every pitch can be the game. Every game can be decided with one swing of the bat, and it's really true in the postseason more than ever. Every pitch matters. Every at bat matters. Every little thing. If someone makes a fielding error in the second inning, the whole stadium remembers and is thinking about it for the next 7 innings. Right. That's going to be the thing that broke us. You're so aware of everything. After 162 games where everything's acceptable. Like, it's okay. We'll come back. You got time. Well, now there's no time. And then now when you add the pitch clock, the intensity. I mean, you could see it on TV. Tony, you were there. You just said you've been going to see Minnesota sporting events for decades, and you said twice now the most excitement. You've never seen something so viscerally intense like that.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I just love that they wouldn't leave the park.
Yeah, right.
They were just standing there in disbelief, and they were hugging and cheering every single player, and the players were just looking up into the stands and knowing that this moment was just a gem.
Yeah, I like the outdoor aspect, too. You have about 85 a couple of days ago. Now it's 65, and it's overcast, and the wind is whipping around a little bit in there. That could be a bit of a home game advantage, when the Astros come on up here and play next week. So we'll hear from some Twins now. We'll start with Correa here, giving us a nice clip. And then I think it's Farmer that jumps in talking about Barrios suddenly coming out. They really got into this whole managing thing. I'm not sure what Schneider was thinking, trying to get every Blue Jay in the game or whatever, but they'll talk about that pitching change that's been a bit controversial. And then we'll wrap it up with, I think it was Pagan with a great quote here at the end.
Feels great. Feels fantastic, man. It's a special group that we have here. Everybody really wanted this. We talked about it before the postseason started, and, man, it showed. We played great baseball this series.
You know what's up next. What do you think going to this next series?
Obviously, you got to play your best baseball when you face the Houston Astros, and that's what we plan to do. So we're going to go to Houston and go out there and try to take a game. Game 1.
How's your hand?
It's great.
You guys surprised they lifted Jose?
We kind of had an idea that they were going to bring him in, Kikuchi in. I mean, I would have left him in. I mean, he was throwing pretty well. His slider was looking good. His fastball was well. He was getting us out. And But fortunate for us, we got the big knock when we needed it.
What got you guys here? We're earlier in the season. Could have gone either way.
We're just really good at baseball.
I love that.
That's it.
It's so good. It's real, boy. And I tell you right now, your postseason fortunes, they trend upwards when you're really good at baseball. makes a huge difference, man.
Yeah, a lot of confidence with this team. It seems like they have gelled together as a team, and and then they just got to stay healthy, right? I can't even believe I just said that out loud.
No, making memories, man. On the Facebook page, we're asking for your best twin memories. John wrote, 1987, I was a professional window cleaner. Putting up a banner at 7th and Hennepin, got completely engulfed by people lining up to watch the parade. I radioed the boss to tell him we couldn't move, and he was trapped by people too. He said, don't even try. He was right behind me. 50 people ruined their clothes climbing on my boom truck, which was still running. I took my boss and others up 3 stories to watch the parade. The experience is unbelievable. It's really true. Now that it's funny. Soccer is a sport that's taken over a lot, taken a big corner of the room of the American sports scene, and soccer fans love to talk about how much it means in the cities. And for what people miss is, and before I was saying, why does baseball still matter so much? You can look at footage of Europe in the 1920s, and you see 70,000 people at soccer games. Like that's the sport. You look at pictures of Yankee Stadium. In 1929, there's 70,000 people there. Like, we had that same thing where the rest of the world had soccer, baseball was ours. And I still think, and as much as they say, it's not water cooler conversation. Well, in the cities that have baseball, it sure as hell is. And I just spent 18 years in a team without Major League Baseball, in a city without Major League Baseball. And let me tell you something. The last 2 days have been a vibrant reminder of how much that sucked.
Yeah.
Because, look, I'm an Orioles fan first, but I'm happy to have Twins as my number 2 team. Thrilled. Why not? I'm no problem. Just the buzz, the vibe of it, watching that game, it's just unlike any other sporting event. I mean, the NHL playoffs are incredible. They have their own vibe that's unique and special. They all do. But, man, the baseball playoffs, I don't know. I swear I think it's in our DNA to just have more stress and tension and anxiety relief. Like when you said, Tony, people didn't want to leave the stadium.
Right.
It's not one person said, should we stay? It's just a collective consciousness that wraps around this game, and everybody knew without having to think about it, I'm not going anywhere.
It was a kumbaya moment.
Exactly
I was lucky enough to be in a suite last night, and somebody knew him, and Mr. Corey Koski dropped by. That was cool.
Yeah, very cool.
See? Look at that.
I tell you, I moved here, and I paid my first rent in Minneapolis October 1st, 1987. So I moved to my first big city.
Yeah.
I got here on September 30th, 1987. And, of course, the Twins were on their run to win their first World Series. And the love in the street, I thought, that's when I fell in love with Minneapolis. That's when I fell in love with the Twins. And, I'll always be a Steelers fan and always like the Penguins and some stuff like that. I'm a big Wild fan now as well, just having seen so many games over the years. But that's when you fall in love with something. Everybody was kissing and hugging in the street. I thought, this is awesome living in a big city.
Yeah.
This is the greatest place in the world to be. I remember getting my first job calling bingo during, it might have been the World Series by the time I had that job a few weeks later, and stopping the games and everyone in the bingo parlor there just staring at the television, and those were galvanizing moments. We have that vibe. I know we got a long way to go, but it's a fun team. It's going to be a fun series. Tickets go on sale, I think, at noon on Friday. They will be sold out at noon. There is 30 seconds in, probably.
There is a long way to go, but it is so important for the team and for the fans to celebrate each step of the way.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't, if you're 7 straight seasons in the postseason, okay, you can say it's the wild card. We'll break out the champagne when we go to the World Series. When you haven't won a series in that long, no, it's important that everybody recognizes and shares that enthusiasm. It's really, really special.
All right. Well, we are loaded this morning. Dig this, at 8 o'clock, yes or BS, Foo Fighters tickets to give away. And the runner-up prize, flip a coin. I think I'd rather have the Minnesota Wild home opener, Panthers, October 12th at Excel. I'm just saying. I had a chance to get some Foo Fighters tickets before next summer, but both up for grabs here at 8 o'clock. Paul Rodgers will join us at 9 o'clock, and we'll be talking about the, what the heck is the name of that team? Oh, the Minnesota Vikings.
The football squad. The
That's
Vikings
right.
play over across the way there. Yeah, the Vikings with a V.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to do that at 8:30. Hey, listen, you called your shot. A big win against the Chiefs. I like it. I'm going to put a 10 spot on your bet this weekend that they get it done against the very distracted, playing decent football Kansas City Chiefs. So that's coming at 8:30. Hang tight.
I love you, Twin Cities. Mwah.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. 30 minutes from right now, we're giving away Foo Fighters tickets. We're also giving away Wild tickets because we're cool.
Yeah,
that's
we're cool.
why we're doing it. But like I said, that's not for 30 minutes. Right now, Candace, it's Halloween month.
I know. I already know that.
It's October. I know you're awful witchy over there, and you're all excited. And I look at your Instagram feed, and I'm like, man, she's just at seances and Ouija parties already every night. What's going on over there with you?
Well, it's just my favorite time of the year, Went to the Halloween jack-o'-lantern spectacular at the Minnesota Zoo last night.
Okay.
Saw some cool jack-o'-lanterns.
Has anybody been to the zoo and done the flyover thing, the walk,
the walkway,
the elevated
thing.
walkway treetop situation?
Not yet.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check that out.
Yeah. Anyway, so then I
way to blow that off.
It's fun because I have Halloween earrings, I have rings, I dressed up like a pumpkin pretty much.
Man, that's pretty strong. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
If I were to ask you a question, what do you think the number one selling candy in the month of October in Minnesota is?
I bet it's something
I'm gonna
dumb.
I'm gonna bet you can't get. I'll give you 3 guesses. Go. You got 5 seconds.
Almond Joy.
No.
Reese's.
No.
Snickers.
No. Hot tamales.
What?
Hot tamales. I would have guessed Snickers.
Hot tamales, number 1 in the Gopher
Really?
State.
That's weird.
They don't
crazy?
actually warm you up.
No, they don't. Well, when you vomit, that warms you up.
Is that the deal?
Yeah, when you have like that 9th hot tamale and your body just rejects everything inside you, that's when you get overheated.
Oh my God, I know people that buy those in the big box and they drink them out of the box.
Number 1 in Minnesota, New Mexico, and North Dakota. The Minnesotans and the North Dakotans loving the hot tamales.
That's weird. Do you think they go, that's a little too spicy?
I would think that. No, Reese Cups are number 1 in a lot of states. I would have thought that. I just assume Reese Cups are the biggest selling candy every year, everywhere, forever. But that's just me. But, and by the way, this is candystore.com reviewed candy purchasers for the last 16 years. It's not just this month. I apologize. It's the biggest month for candy sales. But over 16 years in Minnesota, let's see. Yeah, as I said, hot tamales. Candy corn, only number 1 in what state?
Stop it.
What state, Brian?
There is no state where candy corn.
There is, and it's a state.
First of all, it's not a candy. It's just in the name. It's wax.
It is, you ignoramus.
It is not, and there is no state.
Corn.
Steve's a liar.
It's in the state of
Your pants are on fire.
Utah.
It
a
is
state
Utah.
where you spend some time, my man.
That shocks me because in Utah, of course, the Mormons, 61% of the state population is Mormon there, and Mormons don't drink coffee or alcohol.
Right.
So I was duped a couple of times. I went to Swig. There's a kiosk called Swig. I wanted a coffee. I went, oh, there's the coffee. Get it, Swig, with you pull into the kiosk
sure.
there. What else do you sell in a kiosk? Not coffee. No coffee there. It's all sugar because they've substituted caffeine and what was the other one? Alcohol with sugar over the years because you can have all the sugar you want if you're a Mormon. They are sugar crazy in that state. And and then their number 1 candy is candy corn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's very sugary.
Yeah, it's not really.
That's
candy
all,
corn?
That's all it is. It's just painted sugar. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's sugar in just a chewy little shape.
My folks, my mom was a candy corn fan. She couldn't get any of her kids to jump on that train with her, but she liked
lived
candy
through
corn.
the Depression. I get it.
That's
you know what it was
exactly
originally
right.
called?
It was originally called. No, I don't know.
Chicken feed.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, probably not as attractive to the kid, to the youth market. My mom liked candy corn. My dad, every year at Halloween, we'd come home and the first thing was like, let me look at the pillowcase of booty, and because he was on the hunt for the one piece of candy he liked, and that was the Mary Janes.
What? I don't know what a Mary
marijuana.
Jane is.
You don't know what a Mary Jane is?
No.
It's pot.
No, it's not. It is a rectangular shape of. It's like there's Bit of Honey. It's kind of like that. Did you remember Bit of Honey?
Yeah.
It's just a flavored gummy thing that takes like an hour to chew. It's the size of 2 postage stamps, and it works. If you have fillings, stay away from it. And it's brutal. They taste good. Every now and again, I'll see one when you see an old time candy store, they'll have Mary Jane's, and it still looks exactly like it always did. And I'll get one to remind myself that my dad was a strange man.
My dad didn't like candy. Doesn't like candy. I know. I grew up with a father who doesn't like candy. Begrudgingly, if we're all having some candy, he'll say, I guess I'll have a Mounds. Now, listen, I love me some coconut now. But when I was a kid, and most kids just don't dig on the coconut. The Mounds, even the Almond Joys. You couldn't even throw an almond in there, Dad? Or, not you couldn't spice it up like that. But begrudgingly, every once in a while, I'll have a Mounds, I guess.
I was a fan of both. I liked them both. But Almond Joy, preferable. The European version of an Almond Joy is called Bounty. You'll be in Europe and see Bounties. And I dare say I like it more because it like the Mounds is dark chocolate, not milk chocolate. So imagine an Almond Joy, but with dark chocolate, special.
I like dark chocolate now, but as a kid, dark chocolate, that was something Mom baked with.
My dad was so into candy, we actually called him the Candy Man. And I remember he came home from work one day and he was opening his briefcase, and out poured, he tripped because he was also incredibly clumsy. And peanut M&Ms came pouring out of his briefcase, bouncing in the kitchen down the stairs, going,
my precious M&Ms.
He was just humiliated.
That's
my
hilarious.
mom Cookie's just
What?
like, Harold.
Who can drop a briefcase down the stairs so fresh?
You are right about
Drop
that.
the M&Ms. I'm trying to come up with a line. I can't rhyme a word with fresh.
Mesh.
Mash, yeah.
Oh, come on. We got to come up with a Yiddish version of Candyman.
My cousin Hesh.
That's it. I said Hesh. My cousin Heshy. Who likes the M&Ms
more than Hesh?
Despite what my doctor says.
But not the green ones.
Oh, I love M&Ms.
Yeah, really. By the way, love Reese Cups. Have always, not just disliked, but I detest Reese's Pieces.
I accidentally ate some one time.
No. I hate them. They're terrible.
Yeah, I don't like them either.
Because that better tastes like an M&M. You just took an M&M and made it peanut buttery, and it doesn't work in that format. I like a Reese Cup, but a Reese's Piece, no, man, I can't stand them.
I love everything Reese's, all the different kinds of Reese's items, all the flavors, and the marketing is great. I just love it.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan of some of those when they put Reese's and so it looks like a Twix bar now. They have all the different variations. Just give me the staple. Give me the standard.
We got a couple text listeners saying, tell Steve it's not Reese's.
What is it?
Reese's.
Whatever.
What did
Reese's?
Did you say them differently?
Be nice to our listeners.
I thought you were just being funny. Do you really think that's how you say it?
Oh, no. I always say Reese Cups. Reese.
Like just for fun?
No, that's what I thought. That's what I call them. Reese Cups.
Because you want to be fun and different.
Reese's Pieces.
I always say Reese's because it sounds like feces. No, I don't know. I've always said Reese's. I don't know. I've always said that.
I hate Reese's.
Reese's. Okay, fine. So it's Reese's.
Aren't you saying the same word over and over?
It's a pronunciation thing. You say tomato, I say douchebag, correcting me on the radio.
How dare you, sir?
We're having fun here. We're having fun here. Minnesota by pounds, as we mentioned. Hot tamales, the number one seller. Number 2, Tootsie Pops.
Oh, absolutely love Tootsie Pops.
What?
I love a Tootsie Pop. Yeah, I love them.
I like the brown ones, the like chocolatey flavored.
Cherry. I'll take any flavor. Man.
Yeah. Never liked the gum. What's that has the chocolate in the middle? The one with the gum in the middle. I was never a fan
Blow
of.
Pops.
Blow Pops. Thank you. Number 3 for the state of Minnesota. So you've got, oddly enough, hot tamales, followed by Tootsie Pops. Number 3, Skittles. Kind of boring.
Minnesota is really letting me down right now.
Well, okay. I mean, Zep, you're a South Dakota guy. Let's go there. You got Starburst number 1.
Yeah, I never had one.
Really?
Nope.
Let me tell you something.
I never had one of your pops either there.
When Starburst hit the scene in the mid-'70s, it was like crack cocaine for me. And I'm not a sweet tooth guy, but, man, I would put down a whole pack of Starburst and then have a stomachache with the best of them.
Yeah. I think maybe it was the dad thing. I just don't eat a lot of candy. Baked goods, cookies. I'm a cookie killer.
South Dakota, Starburst number 1. Number 2, Jolly Ranchers.
Never had one.
Never.
Boring.
And then number 3, your beloved candy corn.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just had one. By the way, they are very sugary.
Surprise,
Well,
surprise.
That's why you gotta.
There's 2 candy corns sitting in this pen holder here. So I just
Gross.
been here since I've been here since 1997. And I did just try one. You're right, Tony. It's just sugar wax.
That's why you gotta mix them with peanuts. You gotta do peanuts.
Yeah, well, now I know what I'm
that's
doing
good.
instead of going up north.
I'll tell you this. Part of my, I just realized part of my beef with Reese's Pieces.
Attaboy.
It's going to take a while. I'm going to have to slow it
No,
down.
I like how you say Reese.
No, part of my beef with Reese's Pieces is you go to a movie and they don't have peanut M&Ms.
Damn.
Because of the peanut allergy thing. You know what else they don't have at movie theaters anymore? And this is really the problem? Goobers.
What's that?
Oh, goobers and Raisinets.
They have Raisinets. They don't have goobers.
Yeah, they're stuck
the
in the
peanut
seat.
thing.
You just gotta scrape them out.
People get peanut allergies. And I feel terrible for anyone that has to walk around with an EpiPen because you have a peanut allergy. But damn it, I love my goobers at the theater. I miss it. Yeah. The goober popcorn combo, that got me through my, through trying times in my life.
How many licks does it take to get in the middle of a Tootsie Pop?
Watch your mouth.
1, a 2,
a 2,
3.
Yeah, man. The two of you are really wavelengthing today.
You told your friends.
I don't know. I don't even know what that's a reference to. Was that a commercial?
Yes, the owl.
Yeah.
The wise old owl.
I thought maybe it was a Sesame Street thing.
Nope.
Okay.
That's how they learned how to count in Minnesota.
That's it. Boy, I'm excited. Next summer, Foo Fighters.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
on.
that's right. Right now, the Maple Grove Lock and Save Talk and Text line. We'll take 2 callers, 651-989-ROCK. It's yes or BS today for tickets for the Foo Fighters. That's happening next July 28th at Target Field. Prize provided by Live Nation. Those tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. Our runner-up gets Minnesota Wild home opener tickets. The Panthers on home ice. Thursday, October 12th at the Excel. Prize provided by the Minnesota Wild. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
Are you trying to give me a heart attack?
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That was AC/DC TNT, which stands for Twins, not Toronto.
Very nice.
Bitches, go back to Canada. Go back to Canada with your syrup and your mousse. We're going to Texas to kick the Astros' ass. How about that?
Yeah.
Dopey leaves.
Silly Canadians think you can play baseball. Is there a Canadian on that roster? Probably not.
Hello.
Yes. Yes. Brian, you were saying?
I had the wrong button pushed.
We're making fun of Canada, Brian. Keep up.
Oh, Canada. The country's so lame. Their national anthem is "Oh, Canada."
Oh, Canada? Yeah, they're right up there. Just turn north. Go up there. There it is.
Oh, Canada.
I only have one Canadian joke, and it's always been one of my favorites. You know how a Canadian lifeguard gets everyone out of the pool at the end of the day? He says, "Okay, guys, pool's closed." Because they're just so darn polite up there.
They are.
See what I'm saying?
Sorry.
When I was a kid, getting me out of the pool, not an easy thing. Thank you for that, Tony.
God. Yes.
No, I was constantly being yelled at. It's 8 o'clock, get out of the pool. Be like, yeah, okay. And then I'd start up the stairs and turn and dive back in for one last dunk. Dive back in. That was good living.
Crazy.
You know who keeps diving back in the pool, Candace? You know who keeps jumping right back in for one last chance at it? The Foo Fighters. They can't stay off the road. The Foo Fighters love to play the rock and roll music for the people. They've been doing it for over 25 years with some significant success. And boy, why not? Because they're a blast. And they're playing Target Field, the same Target Field where we kicked that Canadian team's ass yesterday. They're playing Target Field, the Foo Fighters, July 28th, 2024. And you, meaning anyone listening to my voice right now, can go see them if you win tickets. Just so happens we have a couple to give away today, right now, on the KQ Morning Show. We're going to have 2 callers compete in a test of skill and a test of strength and a test of wit or something. I'm not sure yet. Tony will let us know momentarily. But we also know we have a runner-up prize, and that's Wild home opener tickets. So this is a banner day for 2 lucky callers who've been locked in and are ready and waiting in the on-deck circles. Tony, what's our game today?
It is a test. It's like American Gladiators.
That is bull. Yes.
And I say that is bull.
Oh, my God. That is bullshit.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Okay. Here we go now.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes!
Bullshit.
The KQ Morning Show presents
Yes.
or
BS.
Yep, you want ticks to see the Fooey fighters? You got to step up like our twins, you know. Answer some random, useless trivia. Is it true? Is it made up? Fact? Or is it bunk? True or false? Yes or BS? You tell us.
I like it.
Man.
Man. Our listeners would be probably impressed if they knew how many hours you spend in the laboratory putting together those intros. That
You
yes
think
or
they wanna
BS?
know? Yeah.
That yes or BS took Tony Lee 141 hours. It was incredible just to get it just right. You should see him. He's like a master. He's got the razor blades. He's cutting the tape and taping and putting it all back together.
Little different colored pens.
Still working analog over there like it's 1964. It's amazing.
Oh, you're going to see how amazing these questions are.
I cannot wait. And I imagine neither can our callers. Candace, who is contestant number one?
Pete from Blaine.
Pete, good morning.
Good morning.
You all right over there?
Yeah, I hope so.
Pete, are you a Twins fan?
I'm with Pete today.
A Twins fan? Yeah.
Sure.
I won the World Series
Sisters.
with them
Okay, what's
for
that?
one game. The one that they won on. The first one.
Jeez, that's a pretty good one to be a part of. All right, well, are you a Foo Fighters fan?
I am.
All right, far more important. So you're in the right place because they will be at Target Field next summer. There's 2 tickets in the offing. Tony, take it away.
All right, Sunshine, number one. Chuck E. Cheese was almost called Rick Rat's Pizza. Yes or BS?
That is, that's yes.
Yes, sir.
Wow, Rick Rats.
Rick Rat's Pizza, the PR agency, said don't do it. Folks don't want to equate eating with rats.
So that name's still out there? All right.
Yes,
So
unregistered.
so a mouse is okay.
Yeah, happy
Okay,
mouse.
fun fact, I worked at a pizza place in Atlanta. We had mice so bad that we had a cat that lived in our pizza restaurant.
Oh.
True story. Wow. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry to go off onto the remember the good old days before the health department was aware of things.
Number two, in this year's hit Barbie movie, Barbie was played by Sigourney Weaver. Yes or BS?
That is Bolsheviks.
Wow.
It was the lovely Margot Robbie.
Man, did not expect the Russian Revolution reference here, but hell, I'll take it. Well done,
nice.
sir.
Number three, the animal with the longest lifespan is an ostrich.
That is, wow.
Wow, indeed.
That's yes.
I'm sorry, it is BS. It is, of course, the giant tortoise.
You guys were just talking about tortoises.
We're always talking tortoise.
Yeah, talking tortoise.
That's pretty.
Wow, let's develop that.
This is my Friday. I'm going to Brainerd, bitches.
That's right. Let's pour some water on that and see if we can get a bud out of there by the end of the week. All right.
Number four, the dish of toast, ham, poached eggs, and hollandaise sauce is Eggs Benedict. It was named after actor Benedict Cumberbatch, who demanded the dish on set every morning. Yes or BS?
Yes.
I'm sorry. That is.
What was that one? I know that. I've eaten them, but what was it called?
Eggs Benedict.
It is called Eggs
Old
Benedict. But
for a long time.
It was not named after Benedict Cumberbatch.
Nope. Okay. Well, I thought you were just describing the sandwich itself. Okay.
Live and learn.
Yeah, I should listen carefully.
Benedict Arnold, actually, because
That's where I thought you were going.
Famously had open sores that looked like hollandaise sauce.
I thought it was Tom Arnold who had the egg-like substance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up in Brainerd tomorrow and I'll be like I'll be having a nightmare about Benedict Arnold's open sores. Thanks for that, Zep. That's the kind of information. 4 hours on the air, and literally that's the one thing I'll remember tomorrow about today's show.
History lesson.
Jeez.
I was thinking, never mind.
For the best. We will never mind. I'm sure that's for the best.
All right, your last one, number five, with extremely high amounts of vitamin C and the ability to combat both dehydration and diarrhea. This super drink is camel's milk. Yes or BS?
sounds like it should be like one of our energy drinks.
What do you think?
That's yes.
Very good.
Wow.
Not an easy one.
No, I like Pete. Good job taking a moment with it, letting it, just swirling that around for a minute, taking it in.
Go Twins.
3 for 5.
You wouldn't have to sit on a bucket to milk a camel, would you? I mean, just kind of.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, about that hand high.
Yeah. A lot of benefits for raising camel, apparently. Pete, 3 for 5. Good job, brother. Sit tight. We're going to see what contestant number 2 has to offer. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Jennifer from Corcoran.
Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning.
How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great.
Twins fan?
Yeah,
Atta girl. Foo Fighters fan?
big time.
Big time. Fair enough. She's a rocker. She couldn't care less about baseball, but I appreciate you trying. All right. We got Foo Fighters tickets for you if you can win. Pete went 3 for 5. Good luck to you.
Let's go, Jen number 1. The band Survivor had a hit song called Eye of the Tiger, which was featured in the movie Grease. Yes or BS?
Well, they did have that hit song, but it was not in the movie, so BS.
Nice
Atta
call.
girl.
It was in Rocky 3.
Damn straight.
Yes.
In Rocky 3 and in all of our hearts ever since.
Well said. Jen, number 2. Every time Beethoven sat down to write music, he would pour ice water over his head. Yes or BS?
Boy.
Yep.
I'm going to go yes.
With a question mark, but you're right.
Wow.
Curiously, that's how Steve preps for the show.
So weird.
Same hair, too.
Hey, man, if it worked for Ludwig,
Yeah,
then hopefully it will work for me.
Jenny, number 3. The first American president to deliver a speech over the radio was Barack Obama.
BS.
Correct. It was, of course, Warren G. Harding. Not Roosevelt, surprisingly.
I was ready to bet the farm on FDR.
So was I, yeah.
Harding beat him to it.
Yeah.
Yep, sure did.
How'd that work out?
He's
for
in
him?
the dustbin of history now. That's what you get for upstaging FDR.
Jenny, number 4. The stapler was invented right here in Minnesota.
I'm going to go yes.
You would be right.
Oh, Jen is on a tear. Can she go 5 for 5?
Jen is in fuego. Number 5, Jen, your last one. These bands are all the same band, but have just kept changing their name over the years. Mungo Jerry, Wang Chung, and Chumbawamba.
BS.
Nice!
Wow.
Jen.
Cinco for Cinco.
Nice.
Jennifer, you went 5 for 5. That means you, my dear, are going to see the Foo Fighters with the Pretenders in L7 at Target Field July 28th next summer. Congratulations for that.
Awesome.
Pete, strong effort, brother. 3 for 5. You're going to get Minnesota home opener tickets. Minnesota Wild, home opener tickets versus the Panthers Thursday, October 12th. That's next week. Congrats, sir, and thank you both.
Thanks.
You got
Thank
it. Right on. I like that last question. I'll tell you why.
All right.
Because in 2004, I moved to Nashville. And me and a few guys started a Wednesday night jam session, and it just like in a friend's bar, and we just set up a tip jar, and it was the rhythm section was me and Nick, who's my partner in Bagman and Trigger Hippie, and then it was the first 2 guitar players who said yes every week, basically, and we started doing that, and then but like every time we changed the band's name.
Oh, that's fun.
And then I was jamming with friends in college back in the day, and then we would also change the name every time. And after my second experience where you change the name every time you play, I finally admitted that's a bad way to build a following.
Right.
I don't know how I expected people to know it was just us. It's every Wednesday night at the same bar. They just know we're having fun.
Lots of T-shirts to sell.
The guy that ran the bar goes, can you just pick one name? Because like people love it, but then they don't come back the next week because they don't think it's you. I'm like,
exactly what I was thinking.
Who else would it be?
Did you have a favorite?
We settled on Hey, Hey, Hey. And we had a picture of the cast from What's Happening on the flyers.
Oh, my God.
Hey,
Hey, Raj.
Yeah, that was it. There was a hey, narrowly beat out, and you have to understand the imagery here. We had a photo of a rooster, and he was like ripped, like he was all steroided up and had been lifting weights, and that band was going to be called Cockstrong.
Oh, nice.
Like hey, won out over that one. Wow. Back in college, when we were trying to get a following, we did have the great band name Alfred and the Stately Wayne Manners. Mm-hmm. That was the first name.
Rolls off the tongue.
We kept that every New Year's Eve, but then in between, we were Coupe DeVille and the Autos, and everybody had. I was Dodge Dart. There was Stu DeBaker was our singer. Mm-hmm. Everybody was.
That's kind of.
It was really bad. My favorite of those band names that we couldn't draw from because no one knew it was us was. And this was taken right from the headlines, Baby Faye and the Heartless Baboons. If you remember, they put a baboon heart and a baby named Faye. I think she lived maybe a month or two. I don't think she made it long term. But, hey, they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff in the 80s.
Shoot that movie right here in Minnesota, didn't they?
Did they really?
Yeah, something Wild at Heart or whatever. She had a baboon heart.
No.
Yeah.
That's not what it was about.
I think it was. I Googled it while Steve was talking.
Wild at Heart about a baby with a baboon heart.
The original name was Baboon Heart. You're right about that.
Yeah, I knew I was.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's incredible. Right. I'm just now I have to double check. Baby Faye lasted she made it about a year. I mean, which is at least they tried. It was a successful transplant of a
sad
baboon
ending
heart.
of that movie. Yeah. It's terrible.
She was a year old and she fell out of a tree.
Just like in the movie.
Kidding. The baboon heart.
God.
See, I was thinking saying she got a baboon heart, so she was climbing trees all of a sudden as a 1-year-old. It was a joke.
Oh my
Had a red
God.
hiney.
It's been over 40 years. It's okay to lightly poke fun at a story about a horrible situation.
Oh,
yeah.
No, not enough time.
That's how we get through it. It's gallows humor.
I tell you what. Let's come back. I got some great Civil War jokes. Those are totally appropriate by now.
Well, I'll tell you, we have been having a hell of a lot of fun here talking about the Twins this morning, but this is Minnesota, so we need a good buzzkill. For that, we have Sam Ekstrom, our Vikings insider, here at 8:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Quick reminder, you can always catch up with myself, the KQ Morning Show podcast. In-depth interviews, anywhere you get podcasts, anytime you want. Check it out. Sponsored by Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies, of course. We can't all be at the radio from 6 to 10 a.m., but that podcast is there. If you find yourself out and about and can't get it in real time, we're just doing what we can here. Kind of like the Minnesota Vikings, turning the ship around one play at a time. Now sitting at 1-3, the Vikings host the defending Super Bowl Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday. And right now we're going to talk about that. Sam Ekstrom is a host and Vikings insider for the podcast network Locked On Sports Minnesota. You hear him on the Ron Johnson Show and Minnesota Football Party and the Vikings postcast after each game. He's right here with us now on the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning to you, Steve. How are we doing?
Doing well. Very excited by the Twins' success this week. So much so that I've lost my mind and I'm calling the Vikings for a win on Sunday. So talk me off this optimism ledge, if you would.
Well, at least you didn't call a Gophers win against Michigan, where I think the line is like 20.5 points. So you could have gone crazier there, Steve.
That wasn't going to happen. No, I mean, there are limits to my lunacy. Trust me.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, Vikings, I think, are like 5-point underdogs at home against Kansas City. And what you kind of hope for is that Kansas City just has bigger fish to fry. Like, they know they don't have to play their best football in the regular season. They just have to play their best in January. When you've been to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, I think you have a tendency to coast a little bit in the regular season, and that's what Kansas City's been doing. They played one dominant game against the worst team in the NFL, the Chicago Bears. Other than that, they've kind of goofed around. They barely beat the Jets. They barely beat the Jaguars. They lost to the Lions. They haven't been that sharp. Patrick Mahomes hasn't been that sharp, but he's still Patrick Mahomes. And you know that, he's got that superpower where he can flip a switch at any moment. So you worry about that getting unleashed on Sunday. We'll see if, T. Swift is in the building. They're 2-0 when she is. And, maybe if she's not, maybe people will be up in arms about T Swift not showing up if the Chiefs lose. I think that could be kind of a big storyline.
I'm always a fan of teams playing each other that have entirely different stakes. Like you mentioned, the Chiefs aren't sweating a game against an NFC opponent in October. If the Vikings get a win, it completely resets the deck. It turns this young season around in a very big way. And I do like leaning on a home dog when they've got with that much on the table.
Yeah, I like the way you laid that out. I mean, this would be one of the biggest games of this early season for the Vikings. And people would talk about this game for years. People would talk about the time they beat Mahomes. And the Chiefs are just, they'll shake it off, whatever the result, win or lose. They don't really care. They're going to win 12 games this year and probably make a run in the playoffs. But the Vikings have a lot on the line, and they got to get one back at some point, Steve. They dropped the game to Tampa. They dropped the game to the Chargers. Those were games you were counting on. But if you steal one from a team like KC that people had pegged as a loss, you almost kind of get back to even, and you put yourself in position then to take care of business against the Bears, and suddenly you're 3-3, and you feel like you've got new life on the season. So there is a ton at stake, and you can't think of a bigger confidence-building victory than beating the defending champions.
Is this team getting better, Sam? The Vikings, are they getting better with each game as they go on? I haven't figured that out myself.
Yeah, it's a fluctuating league, right? Kirk Cousins was putting up MVP numbers through 3 weeks, and then he put up a clunker. I mean, an absolute clunker against the Carolina Panthers. But the defense showed up that day. The defense allowed 6 points, and then 7 points came as a result of Kirk Cousins throwing the pick six. Defense was phenomenal. And if you look at sort of the underlying yards per play that the Panthers had, it was one of the top Vikings defensive performances in a while. It was really dominant. They got after Bryce Young. He looked really flustered all game. So I think obviously the offense is the Vikings' strength, but when the defense can show that does encourage you for maybe a little more balance on that side of things as the season goes on. And for once, it seemed like kind of those blitzing schemes Brian Flores has been toying with really got home and worked. I don't know if they're going to work as well against Patrick Mahomes.
Right. He doesn't get flustered. And you're right. I mean, they haven't had, I think he's only been sacked a couple of times this year. There's been some murmuring about the offensive line in Kansas City locally down there this year, although it's a very good offensive line, we know, and they actually ran fairly well against the Jets. But unlike Bryce Young, when he gets flustered, he makes plays. He makes things happen. So, the defense has their hands full again this weekend. But I don't know. I heard Kirk Cousins was at the game last night. Maybe he drew some inspiration from the Twins. Maybe he thought, boy, this is what it sounds like when a crowd is into the game and really behind their team and they're doing well and performing. Maybe it will inspire him to come back and have a better game. So, as he's been performing earlier this year. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe this is just one of those weeks where the city is on fire for their teams. There's a bunch of positive momentum. We don't have this very often where the Twins are winning in the postseason. So maybe there's some wind in Kirk Cousins' sails. I will say this about Kirk. He tends to back up his bad games with a nice bounce back. He usually doesn't string them together. So I'm expecting a good Kirk game. I'm obviously expecting a big Jefferson game because they need it. I think they played down to their opponent last Sunday, but if you play down, you can't play down to Kansas City. You have to play up. You have to match them blow for blow. So I think he's going to show up on Sunday, and it might come down to which defense can get a stop in the fourth quarter.
Sam Ekstrom's with us on the KQ Morning Show. The Chiefs are the only team in the league never to have been at U.S. Bank Stadium, so it's their first time here, first time for fans to see Patrick Mahomes in person. He just passed Dan Marino as the fastest player in NFL history to have 200 career touchdown passes. He did it in 5 games fewer than Marino, and that one really stuck me. Of all the great quarterbacks since Marino, I don't know that anybody's even flirted with that record, and he just beat him in 5 games. So far, what we've seen from Patrick Mahomes, where do you put him? I don't mean in the all-time greats, but for the all-time guys after 5-6 years, is there any bit of this hyperbole? I look at him and think he's as good as anybody I've ever seen play the position.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's probably going to break all the records just because of the volume of passes he's throwing too. I'd be curious to see how many pass attempts it took Mahomes versus Marino, right? Because I got to imagine Patrick Mahomes is slinging it an extra 5 to 10 times a game compared to where the league was during Marino's era. I mean, the only quarterback that you can really stack up to Mahomes accomplishment-wise is Brady, who won 3 Super Bowls very quickly. I think it was 3 in the first 4 years. Mahomes has 2 in the first 6, I want to say, and he's almost won another. So he's probably going to go down, I think, as a quarterback that changed the NFL, that revolutionized the position, sort of like Randy Moss revolutionized the wide receiver position. Patrick Mahomes, made it sort of the new template to find a mobile quarterback who can throw, from a bunch of different arm angles, who can just make plays with their legs. He is the whole package, and everybody's trying to find that, and they're not able to because there still is only one Patrick Mahomes. So I think he's going to be, obviously first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. If he retired today, Steve, that would be the case. I think he's done enough already.
Sam, Minnesota's got a nice couple running backs. I mean, Akers had 5 for 40 the other day. Madison went for 95 yards. That's the second straight game with 130 yards on the ground or more. What's the Chiefs' run defense like so far this season, and do you think that's something that Minnesota is going to continue to have success on Sunday?
Yeah, limited sample size, but there are a couple teams have been able to run on the Chiefs. Breece Hall had some decent success, and the Lions in Week 1, they ran really nicely against them with Montgomery and Gibbs. So I think that that's gettable, and you're certainly encouraged the last 2 weeks, like you said, Steve. The running game was going nowhere. They had like 70 yards through 2 games, and they seem to have turned it around, and that might be the one thing that's keeping the new right guard, Dalton Reisner, off the field is because they like what they're seeing from that starting 5 in terms of run blocking. I don't know as much about pass protection. Ed Ingram still feels like a weak link there, but the run blocking has been very good. And this new tight end, Josh Oliver, he's been excellent as well. So I think that's going to be a key to this game. If you can keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands by extending drives for 6-7 minutes, that's going to be a huge advantage. So for the Vikings, they've run the ball great the last 2 weeks. It's been about finishing in the red zone. Way too many turnovers at that point in the field.
Yeah.
And that's obviously going to be a pretty major key on Sunday.
Yeah, we talk about this team getting better, but it's really about eliminating the mistakes. And as you're rolling into your 5th game of the season, there are no more excuses. There really shouldn't have been any through your first 4 games, but too many mistakes, and they pile up, and the ball's not bouncing the Vikings' way, or generally hasn't been bouncing their way like it was last season. But yeah, I think Kansas City just a little laid back on the road, and like you said, they know they're going to win. They picked up that win last week. Thank goodness they're not coming off a loss with a chip on their shoulder. Mahomes doesn't like to lose, very rarely loses 2 in a row. So yeah, I like the Vikings' chance here. Get that running game going.
Yeah, I like the angle of the Chiefs have gotten caught up in all the Taylor Swift hoopla and distraction, and they're gonna lose this game, and that'll force Kelsey to break up with her, and then there's going to be more distraction. So I think the Chiefs are headed down a dangerous road. Look out.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that we get a Kirk Cousins controversy before the end of the season. I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, it could be he steals his kid's Snickers on Halloween night or something. But I thought a little controversy, a little drama would probably help somehow. Galvanize the focus. You think?
Yeah, I mean, paparazzi might catch him drinking a few too many root beers. Maybe he imbibed at the Twins game the other night and was captured on video. There could be some salacious photos of him eating too much cotton candy.
He was in sunglasses and a hat, incognito they called it. I don't think so, but yeah, he looks like every other Minnesotan anyway.
Right.
Sam, Cousins, we talked about this before the season started. Cousins' profile with quarterback series on Netflix really went kind of sky high. He's certainly highly thought of, just anecdotally around. I mean, he's definitely one of the good guys. Do you think that right now, looking at the Kirk Cousins we're seeing, and we've seen, like, everybody in Minnesota has got very firm opinions, but around the league, is this a guy Other teams are still thinking, well, maybe that's our elixir for next season. I mean, do you think there's going to be a lot of people calling the Vikings trying to get Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's happening this year in terms of like a trade being made and another team trying to acquire him in 2023. I just don't think that's realistic. If he hits free agency, I think he would get picked up. I think there'd be some disagreement on money because he is going to be 36. And I am always surprised at how teams are so willing to pick up some of these older quarterbacks like Matt Ryan with the Colts, Phillip Rivers with the Colts. I guess it's always the Colts maybe. But what you might say, well, Kirk Cousins, he's too old. No one's going to invest in him. Well, I think history proves that some team will. Some team will make that investment in him, whether it's 1 year or 2 years. I'm sure Kirk Cousins wants 3 or 4. So he will have to maybe make a sacrifice on how long that deal is. But I have a feeling that he will get paid a handsome sum to play football somewhere next year, probably in the $35-40 million range, if not more than that, based on what quarterbacks go for. His numbers are just undeniably good. And he does have that reputation of durability, being a good guy, as you said. He is highly thought of, I think, around the league. And a team might say, hey, we've got a rookie quarterback that isn't ready yet. Let's go try to win with Kirk Cousins for a year. I think that definitely will happen. I just don't know how long that deal is going to be.
Yeah, Sam, while we have you for one more minute, we're 4 games into the season now. How are the Vikings stacking up against the division? It's really about the division at the end of the day, with the Lions sitting there at 3-1, looking awfully good. Packers slipped last week. How are the Vikings looking against the Pack and the Lions?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear the Lions are actually in a different class of their own, which is weird to say that Detroit is in that position, but this might be Detroit's division to lose. They look like by far the best team, and they could easily be 4-0. They lost their one game in overtime. Meanwhile, the Packers are kind of a soft 2-2. They only got their second win because they came back from 17 down in the fourth quarter, but Jordan Love has been very hit or miss. The Bears are in complete shambles. They've got coordinators resigning. They've got wide receivers not showing up. They've got the quarterback throwing the coach under the bus. They're a complete mess, just an absolute shambles. So they're not a threat. The Packers, I think, are a 500 football team, and the Lions are really good. So the best the Vikings can hope for is to put themselves in position to catch the Lions the last 3 weeks of the season, because they play Detroit in week 16 and week 18. They've got a shot if they can just get back to 7-7 or 8-6 by that point, put together a couple good months, then they might be within range.
Sam Ekstrom on the KQ Morning Show. Last thing, the over-under on this game is 52.5. That feels low to me. Am I nuts?
So Vegas is pegging about a 29-24 Kansas City win. Vegas is just hesitant to go much higher than 53, 54. Like, that's about as high as you'll see.
Yeah.
So I get it, but I also wouldn't be surprised if one of these teams scores in the mid-30s and then suddenly you're looking at a 60-point football game. So I think that's probably about right. It sounds like you're hammering the over on that, Steve.
I feel like the over might have to get a look. That's all I'm saying. Sam, it's always a pleasure, brother. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Have a good one.
See ya. Sam Ekstrom every Thursday morning talking Vikings with us. Kind of cool. Oh, by the way, speaking of Vikings, why don't you do yourself a favor? Why don't you give a shot at winning $5,000 with the 92 KQRS kickback jackpot, because that jackpot is sitting at $5K. You can meet up with Woody and Bud Light at Baldy's Tailgate in Lakeville during the first half of Sunday's game. When you get there, sign up for the kickback jackpot. Here's how it works. If the first play of the second half is a kickoff return or for a touchdown by either team, you could win $5,000. If that doesn't happen, we're going to roll the prize money over to the next game and add another $1,000 to the pot. That's Baldy's Tailgate in Lakeville. Complete contest rules at 92KQRS.com.
This is a pretty big deal. Paul Rodgers' first solo album in 25 years came out in September. Truly an icon. A word that gets thrown around, but not with Paul Rodgers. He's our guest at 9 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Boom. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Thursday, October 5th. That was, of course, Bad Company. Can't Get Enough of Your Love. A song that I always imagine the guys at the label hearing that for the first time and just looking at each other going, oh, okay, yeah, that's going to work. Mm-hmm. I mean, first time, you're like, yeah, thanks for that. That's going to make our job a whole lot easier. And, of course, in no small part because Paul Rodgers, as great a singer as this planet's ever produced, of course, at the helm of that one. Paul Rodgers has a new album out, his first solo album in many years. It's called Midnight Rose. It's available everywhere you might want to find some music. Welcome to the KQ Morning Show. Paul Rodgers, thank you for calling, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Minnesota. How are you guys?
Much better now that we're hanging out with you a little bit. The song sounds great. The album Midnight Rose, first solo studio album in 25 years. And Paul, I have to start with this fact that you've shared just recently. This record's a bit of a miracle because you've been dealing with some health issues. And correct me if I'm wrong, but not that long ago, you actually were unable to sing.
Well, I was unable to speak too, or brush my teeth, or tie my shoelaces. So it is really miraculous. And I do thank hyperbarics, which is oxygen under pressure, and that's given me a new lease of life. And I've had a long rest, so I was able to go in the studio really, really fresh with a lot of new material. And it's been really exciting.
That's an incredible time. How long were you without the ability to speak?
Oh, I don't even know, to be honest. I mean, my wife was looking after me at the time. It seemed to go on forever for me, but it lasted 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks, no verbal. Wow. I mean, because I went through a time of in my mind, I knew what I wanted to say, but it came out like garbage. It was very, very frightening. But of course, with the oxygen, it reignites the mitochondria, so I'm told, in the brain, and re-sparks your connections. It's really good.
Well, it certainly did the job. Yeah, consider those connections re-sparked. This album, a bunch of new material, but this didn't start out necessarily as an album. That wasn't the original plan. It was really more just jamming and writing in the studio with friends. Correct?
Yeah, I did. As I say, I had a good rest. So we were locked down. I had a good rest. And I took the opportunity to play acoustic guitar, write a few songs, and I've got a bunch together, and I thought, let's just go in the studio and see what happens. So I got 4 guys together, well, 3 guys plus me, which makes 4, and like a drummer, bass player, guitar player, and singer. That's like a basic rock and roll outfit, if you like. Mm-hmm. And we transferred these acoustic guitar songs to an electric album, mostly.
Paul Rodgers is with us on the KQ Morning Show. The new album, Midnight Rose, is available everywhere and more than worth your time. Paul, this album has been released on Sun Records, which is really cool to see. But I have to ask, how did the association with Sun? I mean, that's the album where rock and roll was invented, as they like to say, and I don't think anybody can argue with that. How did you end up working with Sun?
Well, Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
I mean, great people, and Sun Records is such a iconic label. So in a conversation with the music conglomerate Primary Wave, who owns Sun Records, when they asked what I was doing, I said, well, I'm just ligging about in the studio with Ray Roper and Todd Ronning and Rick Feddick, that's the guitarist, drummer, and bass player. And they said, well, look, when you get done, Sun Records would be very interested in releasing those tracks, so give us a call. So that really was a kicker, and I thought, well, let's get down here and make an album, and Midnight Rose.
Paul, I got to ask, a kid from Middlesboro who grows up listening to a lot of American rock and roll. I mean, your first band was called the Roadrunners, right after the Junior Walker song.
Yes, it was.
So you're this kid from you're this guy in Middlesboro, and then if somebody said, oh, yeah, by the way, you're going to be on Sun Records one day, that wouldn't have even sounded possible, I would imagine.
No, not even slightly. I mean, Elvis Presley was some kind of god over there in great big America to me, and yeah, really, it's amazing.
Do you remember the first time you went to Memphis? I'm sure it was, was it with Free or would it have been with Bad Company?
Well, I don't remember the first time because life was such a blur then, but I do remember going down there to record the Elvis Tribute? No, Memphis.
Royal Sessions.
Royal Sessions.
Tell the story about going to Graceland.
Oh yeah, and we went to Graceland.
The first time you went to Memphis.
Oh, we went first with Andy Fraser. The first time we went to Memphis, yes, with Andy Fraser actually, the bass player from Free.
Sure.
And beside Elvis's house there was a lot. It was an empty lot at the time, and we sneaked over the fence, and we were about to climb into Elvis's garden. I don't know what we would think we were doing. Fans, trying to see what was going on. And a security guy came up to the car, and we went, we're from England. We're I guess we're a rock band, and we would like to see Elvis. They said, well, he's not there, But anyway, he said to us, jump in the car and I'll take you around the towns. I can do that for you. And I was like, wow, we're going inside. So we went in, opened the gates, and we went inside. They've got this beautiful musical gates there. And we drove around, and he was saying, well, see that building there? That's full of gold records from floor to ceiling. And we were like, wow.
Yeah.
It was quite amazing. Yeah.
That's an important lesson to learn, which is a little bit of charm and an English accent can get you anything in America.
Well, dreams can come true, It's good to wish, good to hope.
Paul Rodgers is with us on the KQ Morning Show. Paul, it's not just my opinion. I know this for a fact. It's the opinion of millions of people. On the very short list of greatest vocalists in rock history sits Paul Rodgers. You can talk about Elvis, and hell, you can talk about Little Richard, and you can bring it all the way up to someone of a generation after you, Chris Cornell, whoever comes to mind, but you're firmly on that list.
Wow, man. That is so amazing. It really is.
Well,
you mentioned some awesome names there, really.
It's an incredible thing to be a part of that. And of course, part of you being on that list is not thinking about being on that list, of course. That's the good thing. But I've had conversations with musicians and especially vocalists for years. And it's that thing when what about this? Oh, remember that record, this. And you start throwing names out there. And it's just, the way musicians just talk about music all the time. And there's always there's a Paul Rodgers part of that conversation that I've been a part of hundreds of times. And the hushed tone that immediately follows your name is always something I enjoy because I'm a free lifer. I'm a Bad Company kid. I grew up with Bad Company, found Free after the fact, and have followed you all along the way. And then I listened to your new song. I listened to something from your new album, and it's like, oh, that's still Paul Rodgers. That to my ear, you haven't lost a damn thing, and it's just a pleasure to speak with you.
Well, thank you, sir. That's wonderful. Thank you indeed.
Yeah, you have so much emotion in your voice and your lyrics. They've affected me, and I think that's why you can connect to so many people. Is there a song or an album throughout your career that affected you the most deeply?
You mean by someone else or by me?
You.
Oh, by me. Ooh, probably actually Midnight Rose, to be honest. I think this is like my life's work in many respects. It does kind of sound like I'm blowing my own trumpet, but toot toot.
Hey, everybody's. It's a good thing to be able to say I just painted my own masterpiece. If you want to hear if you want to hear Paul Rodgers in totality in the year 2023, he did us all a solid and gave us a chance to do just that on Sun Records. This album is available anywhere you want to find music, easily done online for sure. Paul, I know you don't plan to hit the road and do any tour dates with this. Are there any live gigs for any one-offs here or there you've got your eye on? Are people calling you to ask if you can appear? Are we going to see you on stage anytime soon? That's what I'm getting at.
Well, I can't say no and I can't say yes. There are no actual plans yet, but I recently did the tribute to Leonard Skinner on the Country and Western Awards. And so I did that. So, we'll see. But right now, I don't have any plans to actually tour.
Well, whenever that happens, if it does, whatever you're appearing anywhere, we'll be talking about it and we'll be watching and listening. We are all, I'm speaking for the four of us on this show, we are all longtime devotees of your work, sir. So thank you so much for taking the time to call in this morning.
Oh, thank you indeed. That's so great, Steve.
All the best, Paul. Thanks.
God bless.
So anyway, Paul Rodgers is cool.
He's so cool, and he's so cute, and he's so sweet, and I just love him.
And a lot of people sometimes forget that Jimmy Page went to him first when he was looking for a vocalist. He offered him the job. I think he was doing his thing with probably Free at the time. By the way, none other than Tom Petty used to have a little show called Buried Treasures that he would throw out there every once in a while. I became a big fan of and turned me on to Mr. Big by Free. That's on an album called Fire and Water.
Yep.
After you're done listening to, Paul Rodgers' latest, maybe go dig that one up.
Yeah, I said to him, I'm a Bad Company kid because, I came of age, Bad Company, 70s radio. They were everywhere. They were omnipresent. Yeah. I didn't own a Bad Company record, but you didn't have to.
Right.
Like, it was just on every party, every dance, every whatever. Yes. So I knew Free, like a lot of people, I just knew All Right Now. One of the biggest songs of the decade. But it was later, it was in my early 20s that I went back and listened to all the Free albums, like found them from the jump. Tons of Sobs, Fire and Water, the album just titled Free, and digging into those. And then, and they're mind-blowing. And Free's one of my favorite bands ever for a million reasons. And if you're digging into Free, the thing you have to remember on their first album, which is as solid a debut album that has ever been released, they were 16, 17, and two of them were 18. Mm-hmm. They were kids.
Really?
Paul Rodgers is 18 on the first Free album. Bassist Andy Frazier is 16. Mm-hmm. And you put that record on now, and you think to yourself, these are mature, refined musicians who are playing live in a studio and giving so much space to each other. There's so much air in those songs. If you aren't familiar with those records, you'll know what I mean as soon as you hear them. The guy hit the ground running at 18 years old, and to this day, find a Paul Rodgers track that doesn't send a chill up your spine. I defy you.
What a humble guy. He was genuinely touched by your comments.
Candace got him to say toot toot.
He's cute. He's just as and I've had like I said, conversations. I don't mean to be name dropping on not to make me sound cool at all. I've just met a bunch of people, but that's what you do on tour with a band. You're opening for. We've played with Plant. We've played with Jimmy Page a lot. Hung out with AC/DC, Brian Johnson. You sit around Brian Johnson. You say, "Who are your singers?" Paul. Rodgers, that bastard. He gets better. It's right there. Kelly Jones and Stereophonics, a band I toured with. Kelly Jones is as fine a singer of his generation as there is. And you go, what about Free? And he'll just look at you and go, Paul, man. Paul. Everyone, he's Paul. Just, Paul, man. I've had that conversation so many times with so many people. It's just, he's just as good as there. I really mean that. He's on my personal Mount Rushmore of all-time rock vocalists.
Yeah, he has so many moments. And if you want to share your favorite Paul Rodgers music moment, you can go to the KQ Facebook page.
Way to go, woman.
Yeah.
Groovy.
I wrote a little ditty about Tons of Sobs because, that album is freaky.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
That'll be some good reading for myself a little bit later on. Back to the Twins here. We're coming up on sports and music history. We have some fun audio from the big win last night as they got through the wild card. And two, we'll have hear from some fans. We'll hear from some Twins. Hang tight.
In my opinion, go Twins. Go Twins. Go Twins.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, October the 5th. If you're just now joining us, we just spoke to Paul Rodgers in the last segment. Pretty good singer. He's got a pretty great new record out. That was a joy to catch up with him. We talked to Sam Ekstrom on the show today. We all agreed the Vikings are going to literally destroy the Chiefs on Sunday.
Destroy, kill.
It's a double-digit win. Well, maybe not. Destroy, kill. Wow.
Yeah.
Crush.
I like it.
Kill, destroy. Anyone got that reference?
Drag that Taylor Swift out of the booth and give her a good flogging.
Taylor Swift, please. No, by the way, not that I'm encouraging gambling of any sort. I wouldn't do that. But it's a 5.5 point spread at home.
Yeah.
A 5.5 point underdog at home in October is a good bet. I'm just saying. Not that I'm going to be,
perhaps. It's you lay down a couple of bucks and a little more on the lottery. I think you're covered.
Is it 1.4 billion?
1.4. Yes, correct.
I just showed Candace a video I made where I checked to see if my lottery ticket was a winner the other day on the little infrared scanner thing at the convenience store.
Right.
And I was like, this is going to be for the record book, so I'm going to get it on video. And it does. The screen pops up. Winner. Count them. $4.
That's something.
Oh,
Are you kidding? That's more than I paid for the ticket.
Yeah.
So I immediately turned that into 2 lottery tickets.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said, here's
Yeah.
I walked up to the guy and I was like, excuse me, my good man, but I've got a winning ticket.
I am a winner.
What do you tip on something like that?
It's $4. What do you tip? He goes, and it was funny because the guy goes, $4. And he goes, I guess you want a couple of Powerballs? And I was like, oh, you damn read me like a book, fella.
Let it roll. I'm so excited about this $1.4 billion. I'm going to go out and forget to buy tickets twice.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm really stoked.
I appreciate you getting out of my way, brother.
Well, since you've decided to spread it around to everyone.
Yeah, and for the record, I know someone's going like, he's so dumb. He thinks that if fewer people buy tickets, he has better odds. I know how it works, okay? but
no, you're dumb.
I'm going to die on the hill of every ticket I buy, it's 50-50. I win or I don't. Those are my odds.
That's the fantasy we're buying, right?
1 in 360 million. How about 1 out of 2? That's the way I see it. Heads or tails, every ticket I buy. Call me crazy. The Minnesota Twins have advanced to the ALDS against the Houston Cheating Astros, the trash can cheaters from Houston. And that series kicks off on his first game on Friday.
Saturday.
I'm sorry. First game is Saturday. Games 3 and 4 here next Tuesday and Wednesday. Oh, baby. Tickets go on sale Friday. Come on.
Yeah, that's a nooner. They'll be sold out 30 seconds into that. Good luck trying to grab those tickets right away.
Tony has. Sorry, he's up.
No, good.
Tony was at the game yesterday, celebrating with a packed Target field full of Twins fans. You've been reflecting on this all morning. Anything else jumping out at you? Did you notice anything that you haven't already shared with us? Did you see Did you see a young family having a beer chugging competition? Did you see anybody with a bratwurst sticking out of their pants? Anything at all?
Well, along with the unbelievable excitement and optimism and people not wanting to leave because of their joy, I did see, the new Homer Hankies are a big hit.
Yeah, sure.
And I watched one inebriated, older, large lad trying to make it into a bandana.
There you go.
Did not fit his head, and he was very confused, and eventually he just flopped down into his chair and threw it down on the ground.
Oh, man.
It's not working.
That's great. I got a big melon myself, and I didn't know that until I had to get a cap and gown for high school graduation.
Oh, the mortarboard wouldn't fit?
Yeah, it wouldn't. They said, we got to get the extra whatever. I was a quarter-inch off scale or something.
Big brain on
I was
you
like,
there.
really? No one mentioned that to me yet. I mean, I've got a big nose. I got big teeth. My ears are kind of big, but no one's mentioned the entire dome being oversized.
Hello, Steve.
It made me feel a little more in... I wasn't so out of scale. I felt a little better. Glad I have an oversized watermelon head to go with all these oversized features. I've been carrying this whole pretty good looking for an ugly guy thing for quite a while. It's working for me.
Pull it up well with style.
I'm doing what I can. I don't know what you guys are doing today, but I'm going up to Brainerd.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Y'all coming along?
Yeah.
We all going to be there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should
The
y'all,
KQ Morning
carpool?
Show's heading up north to Brainerd. We'll be at Cragen's for a long weekend. That kicks off this afternoon. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a ball.
Oh, I'm so excited. I got all my songs picked out for karaoke. I got my outfits picked out.
I like when someone's preparing for karaoke and they don't pick out their song. They pick out all their songs.
Well, I'm assuming that it's going to be like our party.
So when you picture you doing one, and then people won't let you put the mic down. It's like, oh no, girl, you're going to keep on going.
Yeah, just do a show for us.
I just have to have them, ready.
Are we gonna rock more, or are you gonna throw any pop chestnuts? Are you gonna whip out like a little, like a Captain and Tennille number, maybe a Helen Reddy, anything like that along
mine,
the way?
Damn it! I was going with Muskrat Love.
Come on, man. There's two. There's room for two versions of Muskrat Love up there tonight.
Loon Love.
You know, it's always funny at office parties when karaoke was first kind of a big thing, and they'd have that at office holiday parties. And one employee would demonstrate that they could sing very well. Then they'd be brought up over and over and over again with other employees who were a little too shy to do it, but they'd bring up the singing partner.
Right. Till everyone got drunk. You know, and then everybody was just grabbing the mic out of everyone's hand.
Everyone learns.
God.
That one employee who can actually sing, then they learn that horribly painful lesson, which is, no, you're a good singer until there's expectations. You got to come up like Brubaker style, like, wait, you're the warden? You got to be like, wait, you can sing? All right. But then you got to cool off give them months and months. Don't get back up there the next night, because then they're going to be expecting something. And then I'm just saying, that's experience for you. If when they don't see you coming, you got all the leverage. When they're expecting something, ooh boy, it's tough. Then that's what they call the bright lights. It's a little too hot. Can't catch my breath. Got to sing. I'm not speaking from past painful experience on things like that.
I think I've only been on the karaoke mic once or twice. 2 times for sure, I know, because one ended up on a DVD that was circulated around the station here for my first Vegas trip. But the first time I sang, I got up and sang Born to Be Wild, and I was doing afternoons, and I was pretty polluted at the old karaoke party. And the next morning, I get up to a whole bunch of people getting a hold of me saying, hey, man, listen to you on the morning show. The morning show, got a copy of it and just played the hell out of me howling.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That reminds me of, to my limited encyclopedia of film and TV karaoke scenes, the greatest ever, of course, from Arrested Development. At the Bluth family Christmas, the developer Christmas party, when Michael and his niece maybe doing a duet of Afternoon Delight, and then it both hits them that they're singing about sex, and it's a guy, and they both get that, and they're trying to figure out how do we continue with this. That's about as good as that show got. So we'll be at Cragen's for this very show tomorrow morning. That's going to be awesome, and a whole bunch of listeners are going to be going up there with us. We're all getting up at the dawn, and we'll be on the air early with a whole bunch of good folks, and I cannot wait. I'm looking very forward to it. I know we all are.
Yeah, very much.
Right on.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.